Yeah.
Having come into the appointed time of 5:30 has arrived, I would like to call Tuesday, June the 8th, 2021, Committee of the Whole to order. Please stand with me for the pledging of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Clerk, you want to call the roll?
Alderman Redpath. Alderman Gregory.
Here.
Alderman Williams.
Here.
Alderman Fulgenzi.
Here.
Alderman Proctor.
Here.
Alderwoman DeCenso.
Present.
Alderman McMiniman.
Here.
Alderman Conley.
Present.
Alderman Donlin.
Here.
Alderman Hanair.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, a quorum is present.
Thank you. I would accept the motion for approval of the committee meeting minutes.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Mr. Alderman Redpath asked me to just relay that he is out tonight due to a family circumstance, and he regrets not being here. So.
Okay, thank you. Noted. Okay, is there a treasury report?
I'm going to come to the microphone.
Oh, there you are.
Not handicapped accessible.
Sure.
Thank you, Chair Williams.
Thank you.
The corporate fund in the month of May had a beginning balance of $18,183,155. We took in total receipts of $27,143,404. We had total disbursements of $7,283,447, which left the corporate fund with an ending balance in the month of May of $38,043,112. And Chair Williams, that balance is so large because of the new money that we got from the federal government. So, okay?
Sure, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone got any questions of the OMB report?
Hope you get better.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Do we need to accept this report or?
Make a motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, just signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Any presentations?
None tonight, Chairman.
None tonight, okay. Next, we're going to have ordinances tabled or remaining in committee.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
could I ask that 2021-234 be brought to the front? I believe we have some people on the phone. Is that correct, Mr. Clerk?
You do, yes.
Okay.
That way we can dispense of this and they can.
Sure. What was the number again?
2021-234.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Clerk, you want to read that? Or are they on the phone already?
They are on the phone, but what I'm going to do first, Mr. Chair, is announce the ordinances that are left in committee.
Sure.
Which is 2021-164, 2021-211. And then we'll go to 2021-234.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, a question on 2021-164. I would just wanted to ask my fellow colleagues: Have we come to resolution with Family Video?
I don't know if Alderwoman DeCenso went past the site more recently than I did, but the last time I was there, we've still got, I would say, 10 full dump truck loads of dirt there, and I'll name some names tonight. Eric Hoagland sent me a text message back in March saying it would be gone by April. So we're just getting disrespected here, and that's unacceptable. So I hope we can get some resolution. I think some other members of the family and some employees of the Hoagland family are trying to pick up the pace and do the right thing. So hopefully we'll have some better news a week from now. Alderman Gregory.
The only reason I was asking is because I definitely know that this property is important to completion of the railroad project. So I just told them I would definitely check in on this. So I appreciate it and respect you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, it was still like that Saturday when I went by. It just
Okay.
somewhere else it looked. So.
Chair, I will
You
say,
saw it?
They've got signs stuck in the dirt piles now, so it's,
Okay, so you think
a
they're
house.
working on it, or?
no, they have signs like advertising.
Yeah,
Oh,
It's
Little Caesar's Pizza, I believe.
it's an eyesore.
okay. John, you done?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Okay.
No, they're still.
Real quick, and I guess this is a question for Public Works or the mayor. If this isn't what it's zoned for, why don't we start citing them by the day, and they'll get it cleaned up quick, because to me they're misusing what that property's zoned for.
Well, that's exactly right, and I did send inspectors there.
But my point is, start finding them by the day, and they'll get rid of it. You'll see trucks getting loaded up pretty quick, I would think.
That brings up another issue, since we're talking about it, that when aldermen send and request inspectors to go to a site, it's like you gotta keep digging and finding out what's happening. We need some kind of a way where we can go online and see what happened with that inspection, how many inspectors have been in the last year, how many citations for violation have been there, so to make it user-friendly, not just for us aldermen, but for the homeowners associations out there. And the MacArthur Boulevard Association, they're going to meet this Thursday morning with their monthly meeting. Alderwoman DeCenso and I, we want to give them some good news, but we don't want to have to go into a deep research project to find out what happened with that inspection report. Have we started imposing fines? Are we getting the attention of the property owners? Because that's what we got to do. So,
So what we can do is just hear from the department on where they're at on this, and then address also what the alderman is speaking to as far as knowing what the inspectors have done and where they're at on something.
Sure. So in regards to the parcel, well, for one, it's two separate owners. Then we're purchasing as part of this ordinance. However, they are related, but two different LLCs, just to be clear. But we did go and do an inspection last week, and we did a reinspection, I believe, this week. I think Daryl's here, and they're not in compliance, so therefore it'll be cleaned up by this Friday. And we will, if they don't have it completed, then we will charge them accordingly.
so we're going to use our own public works crews to take away 10 dump truck loads of dirt?
Correct. And they will be fined and billed accordingly.
The full rate of pay?
Correct. Yep. We utilize City Works to track that, and we bill for our equipment, labor, and materials.
Okay, so that would be satisfactory Friday, Alderman?
We'll revisit the issue next Tuesday at City Council and see how it progressed.
Okay, fine with me. Anything else, Sean? All right. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Mr. Curley?
All right. 2021-234, an ordinance to increase the number of Class E liquor licenses by one for CBOCS West Incorporated, doing business as Cracker Barrel Old Country Store, number 147, located at 5975 South 6th Street.
Move to consent.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second to send this to consent. All those in favor? Any discussion first?
We have the people online.
We have the owner online here.
Okay.
Are you there, sir?
I am here. I'm Donovan Morgan from Webster Law Partners. I'm the attorney for Cracker Barrel.
Okay, is there anything you'd like to say?
No, I don't think so. I thank you very much for accommodating us and me being on the phone here, and I'm more than happy to take any questions.
Any questions of the gentleman on the phone? Okay, thank you. So we'll continue. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Present.
Noted. All right. Back to CWLP. 2021-219, an ordinance accepting bids and authorizing contract UW 22-04-091 Ford F-450 utility truck bid with Landmark Ford Incorporated for the Water Distribution Division in an amount not to exceed $82,524 for the Office of Public Utilities.
Move to consent.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk.
2021-220, an ordinance accepting bids and authorizing contract UW 22-04-11 F-550 for lake services maintenance with Landmark Ford Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $74,857 for the Office of Public Utilities.
Move to consent.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second to move to consent. All those any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk.
2021-221, an ordinance accepting bids and authorizing contract UE 22-03-04, Unit 4 cooling tower fan assembly replacement with OBR Cooling Towers Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $110,343 for the Office of Public Utilities.
Move for consent.
Second.
It's been moved in second to go to consent. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk.
2021-222, an ordinance accepting bids and authorizing execution of contract UE 22-03-08, Eastdale Substation Circuit Breakers with Gray Bar Electric Company, Incorporated, in an amount of $161,600 for the Office of Public Utilities.
Move to consent.
Second.
It's been moved to consent and second. Are there any discussion?
Real quick.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to congratulate CWLP. That's the most number of ordinances I've seen with bids that in a row for a long time. So good job, Doug.
Thank you. Any more comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2021-223, an ordinance authorizing the purchase and support maintenance of VMware Site Recovery Manager Store, VMware VS Sphere, for a one-year term with Zones Incorporated from state contract in an amount not to exceed $51,571.04 for the Office of Public Utilities.
Move to consent.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved to consent and second. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2021-224, an ordinance authorizing payment to the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency in an amount not to exceed $75,250 for an annual air pollution control Title Roman numeral V5 permit fees for the Regulatory Affairs Division for the Office of Public Utilities.
Move for consent.
Second.
Been moved and second to send this to consent. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2021-225, an ordinance approving and authorizing execution of an intergovernmental agreement with the State of Illinois Department of Natural Resources, IDNR, for selected Lake Springfield marginal properties to be used in the Illinois Recreational Access Program, ARAP, for Office of Public Works.
Move to consent.
Second.
It's been moved to consent and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Present.
Present.
Noted. And that was Office of Public Utilities. 2021-243, an ordinance amending Chapter 36 of the 1988 City of Springfield Code of Ordinances as amended by adding Section 36.57A11, designing Juneteenth as a city holiday.
Move to debate.
Second.
It's been moved to debate and seconded. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I just wanted to dip into how we are rolling this out. I know we had some previous discussion. This will probably be a question for Mr. Mayor or Corporation Counsel as far as paid holidays and when actually this will take effect.
Actually, how this would work is Monday through Friday, it's celebrated the day of Juneteenth, so if it's during the week, it'd be a paid holiday. If not, if it's on the weekend, then, of course, city's closed at that point in time.
Okay, Mr. Chair.
Mr. McGee.
Yeah, I think we should honor Juneteenth in many ways as possible and dignify Juneteenth. I'm concerned about the number of paid holidays we have for the public sector. I think the average number of paid holidays is approaching 13 or 14, and in the public sector, it's I think averages 6 or 7 paid holidays per year. And so I'm concerned about the financial impact of this on the city. And we honor here in Illinois, we honor Martin Luther King as a paid holiday, who did huge amounts for civil rights and voting rights, appropriately so. And we honor Abraham Lincoln, who is credited with the amendments to our Constitution, which ended slavery. And I wonder whether Juneteenth is at the same level of importance as how we remember Martin Luther King and Abraham Lincoln. And so I'm just concerned about the financial impact on the city. I know Juneteenth is for 1865, when there was some communities in Texas that hadn't heard about the pronouncements of our federal government that everyone that was a slave is now free. So I just have a concern. It's a financial concern. Maybe we could, among those that proposed this ordinance and the paid holiday, maybe we could think of a way to honor the Juneteenth, but without giving everyone a paid holiday if the 19th falls on a business day, on a Monday through Friday, which I think is how it's worded now, that if Juneteenth falls on a Monday through Friday, then all city workers have the day off. I think that could cause resentments, too, among those that then do work that day in the private sector, when they see that government workers have the day off, the city government workers have the day off. I realize that the state government has already gone in this direction, but we're not mandated to do what the state government does. So those are just some comments, and thank you for putting it on debate, Alderman Gregory.
Sure. Anybody else? We'll do Christian DeCenso. I'm sorry. We're going to do Alderman DeCenso, and then we'll do Alderman Donnelly.
I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor, please.
Sure. Mr. Clerk.
Noted.
Alderman McDonald.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to thank the sponsors of the ordinance for bringing it forward, and I, too, would also like to be added as a co-sponsor. Thank you very much. And
Noted.
Obviously supporting it.
Okay, noted. Anyone else? Alderman Conley.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciate you taking the time to bring this forward. I understand the concerns that Alderman McMenamin raised, but I think that there's a certain deal of more importance and significance in our society these days. So I certainly am looking forward to supporting this and would like to be added as a sponsor too, please.
Noted.
Thank you.
You also?
Yep, please.
Noted.
Alderman Proctor would like to be added to. Anyone else?
So I just want to, Alderman McMinnville, I definitely respect you and I respect your opinion. I definitely knew well before that, you're numbers guys, and I get that. On the question on if it's this holiday is significant as many of our leaders that have made this country better, I think that day, without that day, those leaders could have got there and done those great things that they did to move our country forward. Without that day is how we all are sitting up here together because of that day. So I think it does rise to the level of that. Quite frankly, I think this is fair and equal. I wish we could mimic, what the state done. And I get it. There is employees in other sectors that have always complained about government, getting a lot of days off. It's just, the perks of having government jobs, unfortunately. And we hope that other businesses mimic, what state government does. Eventually, we're giving employees holidays off like Juneteenth, like Martin Luther King Day, because it should be important no matter where you work. But consciously, we understand that business has to continue in some states, in some situations where we cannot close down. So I definitely think it does rise to that. It took a very long time to even get to this ordinance because of the significance of money and things. But I'm glad that we all are in agreement that it's worth that. So I appreciate you, everybody who jumped on.
Any more discussion?
Add me as a sponsor as well, please.
Sure.
Noted.
Anyone else? Any more discussion? It's been moved in second to send this on to debate. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, you want to do Public Works?
Yes. 2021-228, an ordinance authorizing the execution of contract number PW 22-03-03 with Parkland Environmental Group Incorporated for asbestos abatement services in an amount not to exceed $100,000 for the Office of Public Works.
Move to consent.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to go to consent. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2021-229, an ordinance authorizing a 2-year professional services agreement with Crawford, Murphy, and Tilley, Incorporated, for rainfall and sewer flow monitoring services throughout the city in an amount not to exceed $150,000 for the Office of Public Works.
Move to second.
It's been moved and seconded to move this to consent. Is there any discussion? Alderman Conley.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I don't know if Nate's still here. Just a question. Obviously, the conversation we've had, significant conversations about the federal funds that are coming and the potential uses of that. I know you get no lack of questions and concerns about sewers. Are we using the monitoring data that we've already got, that we've already developed, to kind of help direct where some of the most significant sewer work needs to be done?
That's correct. That's why we do this. We generally set them in our problem areas and monitor so that we get the best bang for our buck. It's kind of preventative maintenance as well as good planning to ensure we're spending the money where we need to, and we're addressing flooding issues where we can.
How many years of monitoring data do we have?
I'm not sure. A lot. We do have a lot, and then obviously it's going to change over time as systems fail or as areas develop too. But we have a substantial amount.
If I could, I would like to get a copy. If you have monitoring data in Ward 8, if you have it broken out that way.
Yeah.
Or maybe I could just talk to you about it later. But we know that this is a huge problem. If we've got hard data that can drive, where some of the most significant needs are for our sewers, I think it would be beneficial for us all to have that information so that we, if it's not Ward 8, I need to know, why it's going to be another ward. If we could have just kind of a summary of that information.
Okay.
And
We
some
can do
planning,
that.
some planning with dollars attached to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more discussion or questions of the director while he's up here? Okay. Well, we'll continue on.
Sure.
So this has been moved and seconded to send this to consent, correct?
It is.
Yes.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay.
2021-230, an ordinance accepting the lowest responsible bid and authorizing the execution of contract number PW 22-04-14 with P.H. Broughton & Sons, Incorporated, for the FY 2022 Seal Coat Overlay Program in an amount not to exceed $402,642 for the Office of Public Works.
Move for consent.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to send this to consent. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chair, just
Yes.
a question for Public Works Director. Is this the Rejuvenator program on the already asphalted roads, or is this the chip and oil process for the roughly 30% of our roads that are chip and oil?
It's just a standard oil and chip process. It is not the asphalt rejuvenator.
Okay. Do we have a list of the roads that are part of the chip and oil this year?
Yes, I'll email them to you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Any more questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2021-231, an ordinance accepting the lowest responsible bid and authorizing execution of contract number PW 21-01-59 with Rayhan Brothers, Incorporated, doing business as Sangamo Construction for the FY 2022 Brick Street Repair Program in an amount not to exceed $378,812 for the Office of Public Works.
Move to consent.
Second.
It's been moved and second to go to consent. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2021-232, an ordinance authorizing condemnation of real property for the purpose of constructing usable segment Roman numeral VI-6 of the Springfield rail improvements.
Move for consent.
Second.
It's been moved to consent and second. To move this to consent, is there any discussion?
Yeah, I was wondering, is this all of the properties, or is this Sangamo properties?
You might want to sit in the front.
Didn't get my steps in. It's the properties that we have not acquired at this time for usable segment 6. So, and I can provide you a list with the numbers.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Just bring it Saturday morning.
Yeah, Alderman Hannah.
Why are they, have they not been acquired? We just can't come to agreement with them, or what's the story?
It depends upon the parcels. If you have a specific one, I can fill you in after the fact. But for the most part, we just can't agree upon a price, or they've been non-responsive. We're having a hard time reaching the owner this time. And it just allows us to be able to get the property ready. Hopefully, I imagine we'll be able to settle the lion's share of them before even having to go to condemnation.
Okay, so
It just
kind of
gives
just
us-
to rattle their cage a little bit more than anything.
That's correct.
Okay.
It can help.
Did you have something else, Alderman?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Director. It's been moved in second to send this to consent. In no more discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Finance, 2021-233, an ordinance authorizing the execution of a professional services agreement with and payment in the amount not to exceed $55,000 to the PGAV Planners, LLC, PGAV, to provide for a feasibility study and redevelopment plan for the amending the boundary of the SHA Madison Park Place Tax Increment Financing District.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to send this to consent. Any discussion? Alderman Donnelly.
I know we don't have a director, but if someone could get, last time we had PGAV, we've used them for, I think, 30 years as our TIF consultant. I had asked if we've ever bid it out, and the answer was, I believe, no. I just wondered if this got bid out. And I don't know, and if you can't answer that today, next week is fine. So.
Is there anybody here who can answer that or speak to it?
Yeah, Corporation Counsel can speak to the history, but on this particular instance, it was not bid out. They're familiar with the area previously because it was John Hay Homes became Madison Park Place. So they surveyed the area, and but as far as the history goes beyond that, Corporation Counsel can speak to that.
Well, if you recall, this is a professional service, so normally we would not bid. You know, get like proposals potentially.
And Mayor, I think you shed a little light on the fact that we are expanding an existing TIF district, and some of the old data may be relevant to.
They actually, I think, did the original one, for example.
In the future, when we have projects that, quote, have newness to them, let's at least consider it, because there are other firms out there. That's all. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
So, with this, and I'm happy for this. Me and the mayor talked for that length, and I'm good with it if it's required and needed to do this extending a boundary. I sort of have my druthers with spending money out of this TIF, and I feel like there's some improvements in the area that can be made as well. So is this? I guess my question is this something that we have to do to get it extended, Mr. Corporation Counsel?
For extending the time, do you mean the term?
The term and the boundaries.
District? I think the thought is that the district, if it's expanded, will allow resources to go into those areas instead of starting a new TIF. So the effect that the existing TIF has a certain revenue stream. Okay. So by expanding the boundary and expanding asking for an extension for an additional term with the legislative process, that allows that excess funds that are in the existing smaller area to be used in the larger area. If we do not do that, then the funds into that larger area would be very much reduced.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Okay. Any more questions? Hearing none, it's been motioned and second to send this on to consent. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
General City Business, 2021-235, an ordinance authorizing execution of a redevelopment agreement with Vegas Line Properties, LLC, utilizing the city's Central Area Tax Increment Finance Funds in an amount not to exceed $75,000 for facade rehabilitation and easement at the 215 South 5th Street.
Motion for consent.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded for consent. Alderman Hanauer for discussion.
With all due respect, I'm not against this, but I don't know. We need a report on how much money's in the downtown TIF. We've got some projects that we put out there that I don't know. I assume they've expired. If they have, do we have to do something to bring them in? I know we have one project that's out there that just got a new owner on their building in the public market that I assume that has to come back for a new developers agreement since it's a whole different ownership group. But I just think that I'd rather have these on debate so we can find out how much money's in the TIF and you know where we stand, because we've heard horror stories about not having enough money, and we certainly don't want to you know to do this if we're. And again, I'm not against any of these projects, but I also don't want to put the city in a bind.
Okay, Alderman Proctor.
There is $883,593.82 in the downtown TIF, according to the treasurer's report he sent out this morning.
Okay. And that was what's
unobligated?
What's that?
Unobligated?
No, that's the question. I think that's important here is that's the daily balance, but then what is obligated moving forward?
That's the point, yeah.
That's the point, right? So I agree with the Alderman Hanauer. There are some questions about the parking garage for the hotel, if that $450,000 is still being allocated or not, or what. And then there are a few others. So I agree with you, but I don't think that should hold up these projects. We got the developers here, I think, to talk about if you want. But
Mayor Langfelder.
Yeah, I'd ask Mr. Nichols come forward and he can explain the project. I think it'd be helpful with regards to the importance of it. But we will have an updated report with the obligations, and we can see where we stand on the cash report as far as that goes.
Until then, can we put these on debate then?
The accrued value of the TIF.
Yes.
Right.
Motion for debate.
Motion for debate. Okay. All right. Go ahead, sir.
I didn't have anything specific. Did you want me to express the? Okay. So this particular project is what most people now recognize as the Springfield Vintage. When I purchased it, it was previously the Bridges Jewelry Store.
Yeah.
And so we have gotten the first floor in shape with Springfield Vintage, and now the Jerk Shop on the first floor, and we have architectural designs to add 3 apartments upstairs. However, the facade, the previous owner had boarded up windows and not taken care of some of the tile and such that faces the street. And so the first part of the renovations for adding the apartments would be to redo the facade and put modern windows on the front for efficiencies, with regard to heating and cooling for the apartments in the upper stories.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Alderwoman Conley, yes.
Thank you. I would like to say thank you for this. Actually, the topic of more people living downtown came up at the Ward 8 meeting, which obviously we don't touch downtown, but we all go there. So, I certainly appreciate you taking the time and the investment to add more housing downtown. I appreciate that.
Thanks. It appears that the demand is still there, so as long as the demand's there, it makes sense to keep adding them.
And I think that's having that kind of energy downtown is going to be the hook that keeps us improving our downtown area. So thank you for that investment.
Okay. Anything else?
And I just want it clear that I'm not against your project at all. I just want to make sure that I mean, I'm pro-development as anyone would know, but I just want to make sure that we're not overextending our obligation in the TIF. That's, and we need to know, we need before we can move forward, because the worst thing we could do is move forward and then not have the money for the projects that are out there. So, but thank you for your investment. I really appreciate that.
I understand, and my timeline is not in stone, and so if the city needs time scheduled to figure that out,
we should know this week, so hopefully.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anything else?
Well, I'd just like to weigh in that you've got a great record of making improvements to downtown properties, and I know we can afford this one. This is a kind of a minor spend compared to some of the multi-million-dollar spends we've been doing. I think it is appropriate to use cautious because we want to make sure that the replenishment of our downtown TIF is occurring as we spend, and we do have a problem now with Capital Township. We had hoped that the Enos Park TIF would be extended by the legislature that just left town, but because we want to do that. Why? Because the downtown TIF, I think, gave how many millions? $6 million to the Enos Park TIF to make sure the YMCA got built. And then we expected the Enos Park TIF then to replenish the downtown TIF with the $3 million. But because Capital Township has failed to give us the letter of approval of that TIF extension, the legislature has not acted, because by practice, the legislature wants to see every taxing district go along with the TIF extension, and we haven't gotten that from Capital Township. It's just an atrocious situation from my point of view. It's like the tail wagging the dog. They're a very minor taxing district. I think the Enos Park TIF extension will cost them $5,000 of lost real estate revenue per year. $5,000. That's what the Capital Township will give up if the TIF is extended, and for them to hold back. And I think the mayor even offered to reimburse Capital Township the $5,000 they would lose if we could extend the Enos Park TIF, and that was not good enough for Capital Township. I mean, that was their only disagreement on the financial front. They have these policy disagreements, like that the city council and the mayors of the last 40 years haven't always spent TIF monies the way everyone would like to spend the TIF money. Well, that's the nature of the beast. TIF spending is always can be always controversial. One of the reasons I ran for council 10 years ago was because the council at the time gave, I think it was $3 million to Horace Mann to do deferred maintenance on their building, a TIF spending to Horace Mann of, I think it was $3 million for deferred maintenance when they were having record profits. And one of the aldermen at the time worked for Horace Mann, and that's what motivated me to run for office. So we're always going to have disagreements about this TIF spending, but I wish Capital Township would get on board, because when they do, then it's going to be an easy yes for your project, Chris Nichols, the $75,000 we want to spend to make downtown have more places for those to live, to repopulate downtown, which is one of our ongoing goals for the last 10 years on how we need to spend our TIF money. Your project is how we want to spend our TIF money, to create livable spaces for people to repopulate downtown. So thanks for bringing your project to us.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. So it's been moved and second to send this to debate. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
2021-236, an ordinance authorizing execution of a redevelopment agreement with 629 East LLC, utilizing the city's Central Area Tax Increment Finance Funds in an amount not to exceed $152,000 for facade rehabilitation, architectural assistance, and easement at 629 and 631 East Adams Streets and 123 South 7th Street.
Motion for debate.
Second.
It's been moved and second to send this to debate. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2021-237, an ordinance authorizing execution of a redevelopment agreement with Dog-Eared LLC, utilizing the city's Central Area Tax Increment Finance Funds in an amount not to exceed $75,000 for facade rehabilitation and easement at 415 East Adams Street.
Motion for debate.
Second.
Moved and second to send this to debate. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. 2021-238, an ordinance approving a tentative collective bargaining agreement with the United Association of Journeymen and Apprentices of the Plumbing and Pipe Fitting Industry of USA and Canada, Local Union 137, from April 1st, 2021 through March 31st, 2024.
Move to consent.
Second.
It's been moved to consent and seconded. Any discussion?
How many employees does this collective bargaining agreement pertain to? Does anyone have the answer to that question? 4. 4, thank you.
No more questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. 2021-239, an ordinance amending Chapter 98, Section 98.999, and amending Chapter 170, Section 170.10.999 of the 1988 City of Springfield Code of Ordinances as amended by adding increased penalties for emergency health hazards.
Chair, I'd like to hold this ordinance in committee. It was important that we got it out and get some conversations started. I've got some possible changes that I think we're going to be making to this before we bring it back for the full committee consideration.
Second the motion.
Okay.
Thank you. So just hold in committee now.
Second to hold. Do we need a vote? No? Okay.
No. Thank you.
Mr. Clerk.
2021-240, an ordinance repealing previously passed ordinance number 436-11-20 pertaining to public health requirements.
Move to consent.
Second.
It's been moved to consent and second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2021-241, an ordinance amending Chapter 76, Section 76.44 of the 1988 City of Springfield Code of Ordinances as amended pertaining to impoundment of vehicles due to fly dumping.
Motion for consent.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to go to consent. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair and Alderman Proctor, I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor.
Sure.
Me too. Be on there.
Me as well.
Go ahead, throw us all on.
Noted.
Yes, Lord.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, so it's been moved and second to send this on to consent. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay.
2021-242, an ordinance to decrease the number of Class B liquor licenses by 1 and increase the number of Class A liquor licenses by 1 for RTP Liquor, LLC, doing business as 5 Star, located at 1249 Toronto Road.
Move to debate.
Consent.
I think debate always trumps consent on these.
Second debate.
Second debate. It's moved and second to send this to debate. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, I skipped discussion. Any discussion?
I don't worry about doing it all the time.
Noted on the present.
One present. All right. Okay. I think that's, so we're at unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business?
I got one thing.
Okay, we'll go with Alderman Hanauer, then Alderman Gregory.
Okay, I was going to let him go, but that's all right.
no.
As I said before, I know Public Market has changed owners. I don't know that we've ever had this happen where a developer's agreements changed owners in the middle. What do we do normally? Do we have to get a new developer's agreement, or do they have to sign off on the other one, or what's the issue on that?
If the development agreement, the scope of work and so on is materially changed, then we always require amendments or to come back.
Right.
In the case of a new owner, then it would be my view that would also have to come back or should come back because you have new parties. Or the council would have to approve a substitution of parties, which would cause the same effect. There'd be a discussion about it.
Right.
And I am aware that they had a change of ownership. I'm not sure what their plan or work schedule has changed.
I just made aware, and I wasn't sure what happens.
We would consider that a material change.
Okay. And then the other one, just every 6 weeks or whatever, the Ferguson Booth. What's the latest on Ferguson Booth? It's the project that just never seems to get off the ground anymore. Is there any, they were supposed to, they had a deadline for financing, and has that come and gone, and has there been any movement on it, or I just was trying to get an update on that.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Yeah, the developer gave a update at the last Community Economic Development Commission meeting, and he's hoping to have his financing in place with LISC, where they could have a closing hopefully by the end of this month. But we'll have them come to the next Tuesday's City Council meeting, or at least call in and
And then,
give the
so when's the
update.
clock start ticking for getting people paid?
At that point, it's immediate. That's my understanding of that discussion, isn't it? Yours,
Yeah, I mean,
Corporation Counsel, I
right
think
now,
that's-
they're way past the schedule.
Exactly.
And so the issue, just very briefly, the issue has been and continues to be the financing component. So they've been continually working on it. They have advised that they think that they've got their tax credit arrangements now made through LISC through the loan process. They've indicated that they are going to have a firm closing date. I believe they said this month, but they've been struggling with trying to get the financing. But as a practical matter, they're very much, how can I say this, hooked into the deal because effectively owning the building and so on, they're going to have to deal with the issue. It's not a case where they can walk away or that sort of thing because they actually do own the mortgage debt, so they're on both sides of that. So one way or the other, they're going to have to address it, and they're still indicating to the city that they're working very hard to get the financing, but it has proven to be very difficult.
Well, I just am concerned about getting the subs paid, and I mean, there's quite a bit of money there, and also the benefits paid for the workers that had already paid their own benefits, and that was kind of, you know, we want to make sure they get whole too. So that's why I ask it. I haven't heard much from them, and I still assume the hotel is dead. That hotel's DOA, right? That's
correct. Yes.
Okay.
Are you referring to, I'm sorry, to 4th and Washington?
Yes.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Okay, Alderman Gregory.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. This is an old topic that we've talked about. I just want to speak on
Excuse me.
our homeless friends over on 11th at the old Salvation Army building. I'm just curious on what direction we're moving with that. We're starting to get a larger population. They all can't sleep in the back, so now we have them, you know, out on 11th Street. I've seen some almost get hit. So I'm concerned a little bit, especially with the sanitary and trash and things in that area. I'm willing to, you know, give me a pack. I'll go pick it up every morning. But I think we need to have help. You know, keep it straight. And I'll volunteer myself, whatever. I know we stretch, but we have to have somebody attend that space. Or they'll do it as well, but we have to cultivate that and make sure everybody's at least doing right while we're allowing this. It's about to get hot, too hot for them to be out there. They're gonna have to be inside, and I know we got some plans working and stuff, but you know, I want to show the public that we're gonna, you know, make sure our homeless population is taken care of this year and get moving on that. I don't want to be late. We got winter coming, and I don't want to be late. I want to make sure that these people got some place to go. We're seeing just an increase because people just don't have nowhere to go who are homeless, experiencing homelessness. So I just wanted to speak up for my friends over there and try to, you know, put some attention over there a little bit for them, clean it up a little bit. My second thought was last week, Levitt, this week, Thursday, Levitt Amp down on the Y Block. It was wonderful. I really love what that crew has done down there. Beautiful stage. It was a beautiful setting. I encourage everyone to go out and listen to some good music. It's going to be some good weather, so some vendors down there. So I just wanted to speak to that group. Downtown Springfield did a wonderful job with that, and it's really bringing, you know, the whole community together. So I encourage everybody, Thursday nights, 6 o'clock, come on down. That's it.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to add to the comments that I believe Alderman Gregory was mentioning regarding we got to take care of the property. I think also not just the homeless population, but the property there at Madison and 11th Street. The overnight shelter, when I passed it on, I think it was Monday or a few days ago, it was an eyesore. It hadn't been mowed. It looked what we did call the overnight shelter at the northwest corner of Madison 11th Street was an eyesore. And then the property that we now own, which was the Salvation Army retail store and their residential facility, That also, it hadn't been mowed. It looked like in a month the grass was tall, and I think we own that property now, so it's a city responsibility. We just can't have a major intersection like that with 10 to 20,000 vehicles passing a day looking as it did if the city owns the property. That's just unacceptable. We need accountability. I won't name names, but we know which department is responsible for properties owned by the city, and they need to know what's going on in our city. A well-traveled property like that. Our truck drivers need to report when they see something. Our fire truck operators, when they see city property that's not looking good, they can report it. Our police, they can report it. About 30 years ago, we had a really active reporting system like that, where all city employees were basically stewards of our city. And they had to communicate when they saw something that was wrong. And we need to get that mentality and that concept back with everybody. So I agree with you, Alderman Gregory. I'm glad you mentioned a city property that was in disrepair.
I'm just saying, and it's no slight to our city workers, because guess what? They all are working hard and got a lot to do. And I just think, we know that spot. We know we got a small issue, over there. We got people over there. So we just got to put a little more attention over there. And guess what? It's a city thing. It's a community problem. All of us got to get ourselves over there and help out. And that's just why I feel, it's not on city or any department. All of us got to go help them.
All right, thank you. Any more unfinished business? Mayor.
Yeah, tomorrow night at Salvation Army on Clear Lake Community Center, there's the Ward 2 meeting at 5:30. And then Thursday will be Ward 1 at the Elks Club, and that one will be at 5:30. And then Saturday, Ward 4 at Fulgenzi's at 10 o'clock. And then Monday is Ward 7 at Hope Presbyterian Church, 2211 Wabash Avenue. So hopefully people that come out and get engaged, because it's about, what's concerning in your area, plus throughout the city, as well as the American Rescue Plan dollars. Treasurer reported on the significant balance within the corporate fund that's related to the American Rescue Plan, and that discussion helps you, provide feedback into what's important to your area and how you'd like to see the city moving forward. And it's been noted about the problem properties, so especially the ones that we do take care of, and we plan on ramping that up. So thank you.
Thank you. I'll just add that Ward 3 is June the 16th, Wednesday, June the 16th, 700 South Livingston, across from Channel 20. Okay.
And we'll make that announcement next Tuesday, too.
Just get a heads up. Any more unfinished business? New business? Anybody with any new business? Mayor. And then after the mayor, we'll go to Alderwoman. I'm sorry, guys. I've been saying.
Go ahead.
Conley.
Thank you, Mayor. I have just two short things. First of all, I'd like to just thank our library staff. If you drove by the library today, it's been chalked up. It looks like some kids are getting a really good start on their summer reading program. I encourage people to get down to the library. Our kids are out of school, for the ones who are in the buildings. But we've got a lot of resources down there, and it looks like they're really trying to make this a fun summer for our kids. And then secondly, I'd like to just highlight and thank the Douglas Avenue Methodist Church. They have planned a vaccination clinic on Thursday, June 17th from 4 to 7 p.m. They're going to have the Pfizer shot, so anyone 12 and up can come. They will also have the Johnson & Johnson shot. Just really appreciate our local community organizations taking the effort to reach those hard to reach, more resistant, or people who have bigger barriers to getting this shot. If you know anyone who needs it, we will be reaching out, and you can contact me, and I can get you signed up. But thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Mayor?
Thank you. This Thursday, we're going to, at 3 o'clock in the City Council chambers, and you can join by Zoom, we're going to have the open public meeting for the CARES Act funding. We received $766,000 in CARES Act funds, so it'll be your opportunity to give us feedback on that and to get the document that we're presenting. It's on the city's website at springfield.il.us. The initiatives, going from memory, one is with regards to a housing initiative and job training. And then the other one is for mental health support for an outreach specialist dealing with the homeless, moving that direction. Compass for Kids was one. And the other one was for the outdoor dining for downtown and expansion of indoor facilities with regards to social distancing related to the pandemic.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Clerk, we got anybody signed up to speak tonight?
Yes. Margaret Franklin.
I have been before you guys before. When I came before, it was in regards to the block parties. Now I understand it's been moved to a pop-up parties. Last week I was on Channel 20 and I made some mention of some problems that we're having in our area. I have spoke to my alderman, I have spoke to my NPO. Everything I'm trying to get done, I'm being shot down. I asked for speed bumps. I was told we can't have them because it's on public streets. I was told that we could not do any kind of no parking signs. They said the police can come out and put those little ones up along the grass. What good is that going to do? I have asked for safety. I'm asking that mayor give permission for us to get lights up at Pillsbury. My husband has pictures of cars. There were cars on top of cars on top of cars. And I'm not understanding why nothing's being done. Like I said, I've been here before. This is my second time coming in. I live on 14th Street. 14th Street, as you know, well, some of you know, it comes to a T. You can go right on Reservoir, or if you go left, it's like a dead end, okay? I've been in contact with Commander Dodd. I've been in contact with Nate Bottoms. I tried today to get, I also talked to TJ. I'm trying to get a hold of Mr. Brown because the home that we live in has a wheelchair ramp on it. The other night when all this fiasco was going on, I went outside and I said, get the hell out in front of my house. Someone looked at me and said, kiss my A-double, you know. And I said, excuse me? This is a public street. We can park wherever we want to park. I understand it's a public street, but don't I have any rights? I mean, no, I do not own the home, but yes, I do live there. My husband, as I said, has a wheelchair. What about if an ambulance needed to get in, a fire truck? A police car couldn't even get down that street. And I'm tired of being pacified by city officials, such as our police department, telling me, now, Margaret, there's 500 people out there. There's 15 officers. What do you want me to do? What do I want you to do? That's a really open-ended question for me, because there's a lot I'd like to have done. But as I said, I have talked to my alderman. I have talked to my NPO. I understand my NPO and the alderman had not made contact with each other. I don't know if they've done that as of yet or not. Really? But something has got to be done around the Pillsbury area. Lighting is one of the biggest problems we have. Maybe if we get some lighting up there, when these people come, we can actually see license plates. Right now, if you look at these pictures, you can't even see a license plate, because if I get a license plate, I'm going to call it in. But what further upsets me was the other night when this went on at 7 o'clock, I'm sorry, after midnight until 4 a.m. in the morning, I called 788-8325. I understand after midnight it goes to dispatch. Dispatch said they were overwhelmed with calls. There's a lady here that lives in our neighborhood. She also spoke on Channel 20. So it's not just myself that's coming here, okay? But we need the city council. Mr. Gregory and I have had a conversation. Something has to be done. Where is it going to be coming from? I thought when you come to city council, they were there to back you. As I said before, Mayor did say no more permits. That's fine, but now the pop-ups have started. So I'm not getting any resolution to nothing, and I live there. So What did you want to add, Bub?
And this party went on a 4-block area. They had 4 blocks of cars parked at this lot, if you can see. It's the old Pillsbury parking lots for their employees, and they had them completely full. Several of us in the neighborhood did talk to the state police, and they were offering to come out and assist the city police department to clear them out, but they refused their offer to help.
Now, why is that? That's what I want to know. If our police department is so short-handed, as they say, if another agency, such as Illinois State Police, offered to come in and help, why were they not taken up on their offer to move those cars out? Mr. Williams has said something about a tow truck. How can you get a tow truck in there if you can't even get a car down the street?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I think what you're describing is a serious law enforcement problem, and we need preemptive action. When something develops to the size this was, it's hard to go in and do anything about it, but we need intelligence and preemptive action to know what's going to happen a day or two ahead of time, and then you can go out and put up no parking signs, and you can do law enforcement coordination to get the amount of forces needed to prevent something like this from happening, I assume. I mean, thank you for bringing this to our attention. And
but from what we understand, Mr.
They
McMahon,
did have the signs up. Police department did put the signs up on Saturday morning.
so then they had to be present as the
Right.
first cars started showing up.
Yep.
But what we're upset about is with this whole deal, they were supposed to be at Comer Cox Park. I guess you guys shut down Comer Cox Park, so they could not do that. So they moved to our location. They're moving from location to location to location. That's what I'm upset about. Where is this going to stop?
Another thing that irritates me is, why should our city have to pay you guys on Sunday morning after their party, sent 5 city employees out there to clean up their mess?
On a Sunday.
On a Sunday morning. That's outrageous. Our tax dollars have to be used to pay for this.
We drive down that road. Do you think I want to pay for 4 brand new tires in my van to drive through broken glass that I didn't do?
Yeah. Well, our assistant chief is here, and he's hearing you loud and clear, and so hopefully we'll develop some strategies.
What I want to do is give him a chance to speak, but I do want you to know that several ideals are being discussed, all the way to we're trying to target who the people are that are actually planning these events. I mean, they're doing Twitter, they're doing Facebook, and they're using codes, so it's kind of hard to know where they're going to be that night, because they have caught on to what you're going to hear our police department say, how we set up to close them down. And like you said yourself, they jump up and they move to a new area. And I did speak on towing. I actually wanted them to surround them and just start towing, knowing that they were only going to get 5 or 6 cars up in the air before it empties out like we want. But the key to me is we got to get ahead of it, and also never let it start. We have to never let it start. I don't know if that means we find an abandoned farm or abandoned shopping center or whatever, or what she be doing. The whole thing comes down to liability. Nobody wants it on their property. As an Alderman person, I have always said, you do not, it's inappropriate for anybody's residence. They just can't do it in the residence. Now, there's other areas where they can figure out how we can let them do this legally. That's a law enforcement question and a legal question. I just am after them because everywhere they've been going, they've been popping up in people's residence. It's wrong for the residents. People can't get home when they get off their shift, in and out their house. Emergency vehicles, like you said, Ubers, taxi cabs, all these different calls I've been getting. But what I will say is you're not being ignored. We really are trying. Everything that TJ told you, he also told me, from the speed bumps to the signage, just rules and laws that we have to live within legally, and that does frustrate you, because then it looks like, well, what can we do? Well, I think that's what all of us got to put our minds together and try to decide. But I would like the police department to come up, and maybe they know something. And then after, we'll go with the mayor first and then the police department.
What we'll do, we appreciate the picture. What we're going to do is assess the area and see what we can do, because we've had requests for speed bumps, if we're ever going to try it out, this would be the perfect area to do it.
Yes.
Because it's not
Very
high
much
traveled,
so.
and so we'll take a look at what we can do. The other thing is the no parking signs. We probably could put them up there, and no parking after 8 o'clock at night or whatever the case may be. Of course, you don't want to disrupt people that live in the area.
Right.
And if someone parks there, you tow them, as Alderman Williams had said. So we'll look at what the options are with regards to this and assess the area with Public Works and with the police department.
But I've also got into a discussion with Mr. Williams the other day from 11th and Division, clear down to 15th and Division. That's a wide area. I asked for stop signs to be put in. They told me no. Everything I have tried to get
Yeah, because they
city
use it
people
for
to work with me, I get told no. No, no, no. No, it's not an answer. There has to be an answer. And I would pray to God that you give us a speed bumps. Let's try the speed bumps. If they work, they work. If they don't, they don't. But you're not going to know until we try.
Alderman Hanauer.
Yeah, thank you. Does Decatur and Bloomington, Peoria, are they having the same problems? And if not, what have they done different that we're not doing? Because if it's a matter of getting tougher, I agree. We need to find out who's actually putting these together, and like we talked, Alderman, we need to fine them heavily and do progressive fines to where it's going to hurt them. And these shouldn't happen. And if they're going to run from one place to another when they get rousted out, all it's doing is taking up valuable police time that we can't get that back. And so I'll let Kenny talk. And
sure.
Thanks, Mr. Chair, and I'll do my best to try and answer a myriad of questions here. So, and I don't have all the answers. I'll be the first one to admit that. And we are working with the alderman. I've talked with Alderman Gregory and Alderman Williams at length about some of the things that we can do. I work with Corporation Counsel, and his staff is put out temporary restraining orders. When we identify those individuals who are kind of spearheading these pop-up parties, we target them, we take legal action, and do our best to stop the parties that way. As people begin to catch on to that, they come up with other ways to get the word out as far as where these parties are. And again, I know that we're working together as far as getting all that information to us, but I think I will be very clear, and Mrs. Franklin brings up some good points. There are times when we have 16 to 20 officers working the streets, and those 16 to 20 officers are responsible for answering hundreds of calls on a busy Saturday night. I'll give you the rundown of this particular night in question. And my lieutenant, who's been with this department for 14 and a half years, described it as the busiest night of his career with this police department. So that's what we're up against to start with right there. As they're answering calls for service, as they're monitoring Comer Cox Park, this kicks off here. Our officers respond and do the absolute best they can, begin to make traffic stops. I believe we made 9 arrests and seized 9 firearms from that area as a result of this. So I'm not going to sit here and say that we didn't do anything, because that's absolutely not the case. The men and women, as short as we are, and yes, we are short, are working as hard as we can, and we'll continue to do so, and we'll continue to address this problem, whether it's through legal means, whether it's through a towing ordinance, whether it's through intelligence, whatever the case may be. One thing that we did do in Mrs. Franklin's neighborhood, and I had the pleasure of speaking with her yesterday, as did the alder folks, is we had our own pop-up party. You know what? It's our stance that we'll take the community back from a law enforcement perspective, and I'm willing to do that in any one of the wards. And it was a matter of us showing up with our meet and greet wagon, and we cooked hot dogs, and we did Operation Juice Box and Polar Patrol, and had a bounce house. And this is a way for us to try and get some of the stakeholders in the community to recognize that we're here to support them. So again, I don't have all the answers. All I can say is that we will work together with the alder folks, with the residents, with my men and women of the agency, and we'll continue to combat this each and every day, each and every weekend. To your question, Mr. Hanauer, I don't know what's currently going on there. I will say that when COVID struck, this is kind of when all this pop-up party sort of formulated, right? And they were happening in Decatur, and then Decatur residents began to come over to our area here. So whether they're still going on over there, I don't have that answer. And I'd hate to lobby against them. I can certainly find that out, though.
Alderman Gregory, you want to ask?
So this is a complex issue. We've been dealing with it for some time. Since I came in office, we've been dealing with situations in the neighborhoods, and we've been trying to combat those through various ways, getting to them early, cutting them off, and we'll keep doing that. And that slows down the Facebook advertisement. I mean, it's 2021. Anything to advertise can go to 500 shares very, very quickly. So it's very, very difficult to deal with. One of the things that me, along with Alderman Williams, we have reached out to some of the known hosts, and we, to have a discussion. To try to encourage them to do partying the right way. That's why this is so hard to control, because there's some legal things there, and we don't want conflict at night between our officers and the community. So we're trying some innovative routes along with the legal routes as well. But we have to try to connect with these. I say young because I'm a little older, but they're all grown for the most part, to encourage them to do right and warn them of the consequences. I mean, it's very, very clear that we don't want this, and if we have to start going after the host to slow it down, that's what we're going to do within legal matters to do that. We are going to try to put a stop to it, but it is very, very difficult. I want everybody to know it is you're talking about thousands of cars from 3 cities. I don't know why they picked this city to do this in. I don't know why they picked, particularly our side of town, but we've been dealing with this for a couple of years, small parties, and these are just very, 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 very large to whether they're gaining this type of attention, and they know it. They know that they got our attention, so they know that we're not happy, and we're definitely trying to put a stop to it. So I assure you, along with Alderman Williams and everybody up here, that we're doing all we can, and we're going to keep working on it and hopefully get it in control. So I apologize what you went through for this weekend, and we're going to keep working.
Well, there's no apology needed. That does come with the territory. I mean, that is our job, and I do appreciate the fact that we can work together on trying to find a solution, and that's what we're committed to do. So I'm sure.
Can you? I'm sorry, Chair.
Go ahead, Alderman.
Can you grab the state police and do once you find out where the party is, do DUI patrols or something like that?
So that brings up
that way, because if they know we're going to do it, that might be an incentive not to come here.
That brings up a good point. I need to comment on Mrs. Franklin's statements. We don't turn down anyone's help. That flat out does not happen. In fact, we work in partnership with our fellow local agencies, with the county, with the state police, with the park district. We worked with them to work on the Comer Cox situation. So state police was doing a roadside safety check, and they have certain routes that they have to do things on, but they also provided us with a handful of officers, or traditionally will when they have them available to assist. So we do not turn down anyone's assistance. We are all in this together, and additional manpower is nothing more than a force multiplier that we have to have. So
thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Woman DeCenso.
Thank you. You are not alone. Alderman Gregory and Williams, they've started coming over to Ward 6
yes.
after certain events, and I got a call at 1 o'clock in the morning, I guess Sunday morning, which no one wants to get, and I certainly can't do anything about it at 1 o'clock in the morning. So, and there were police on the scene, but it was right in the middle of a neighborhood, and we can't do this. But we also sat at the Ward 6 meeting last night and told a whole crowd of people that we were not doing speed bumps anywhere ever. So if they're temporary, that's one thing, but I don't like this telling one group of people one thing one night and the next night you tell them something else. So the Park District has temporary speed bumps. If that's something we're considering, that's fine, but you're going to have every neighborhood in the city asking for a speed bump.
Yes, you will.
How are you going to get around? Because it slows down.
Come. Well, just hold on 1 second, ma'am. We'll let the Alderwoman finish, and then we'll go to the mayor. Then we'll let you, if you can come up front. Yeah, go ahead, Alderwoman.
Well, you can't have a speed bump on every block because then it slows the flow of traffic, and it would be impossible to get anywhere. And then everyone will be complaining about the number of speed bumps. I grew up in an area where there were speed bumps. It was Leland Grove, and everyone complained about those speed humps every day. So, I mean, you can't win with that. You know, at some point, and this has nothing to do with your problem, but this is a general speeding issue, which I harp on consistently up here at City Council. You know, we need more traffic enforcement of speeders because this is an ongoing problem. You know, my ward covers part of MacArthur Boulevard that goes into Washington Park. Trying to cross MacArthur Boulevard to get into Washington Park from Williams Boulevard is like playing, you know, Frogger. It's horrifying. My dog thinks it's fun. I don't. My 12-year-old doesn't. But you know, we have a huge issue with speeding in the city. So this isn't just because of parties or anything else. We have, you know, every main thoroughfare is a racetrack, and it's got to stop. I mean, every time I hear a siren, I'm right in the center of the city, and every time I hear a siren, I just wait for it to stop because I want to know how close it is and what intersection it's going to be at. So, you know, like I said, I've harped on this issue several times over the last 4 years of sitting in the seat. And, you know, speed bumps are not the issue. The issue is, you know, better enforcement and some personal responsibility of people just slowing down. It's ridiculous. And it's citywide. This is a citywide problem. If I got any comments last night after the meeting was, well, I guess the problems we're having in Ward 6 are problems they're having everywhere else because.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Alderman. Mayor.
Yeah, Alderwoman DeSenza is correct with regards to speeding. You shouldn't use speed bumps because you have police, fire trucks that have to respond in regular areas. But when you're talking about a pop-up party, that could be an effective deterrent because let's face it, if we're trying to be proactive and stop what's happening, if anybody, say we go in with the state police and anybody trying to flee, they're flying over those speed bumps, that it definitely is a deterrent. And the area, I'm familiar with the area around Pillsbury. It's not a MacArthur, it's not a Walnut, or it's not like a lot of these areas. And it's specific to stop or deter the pop-up parties. So we will take a look at it with regards to pop-up parties and doing whatever we can to deter that type of activity. But I think everybody understands once you stop it, it's like whack-a-mole, right? You stop it here and it's going to pop up somewhere else. And I think the enforcement factor is the true factor because once you start cracking down and they understand that, we will probably call the state police and ask for their assistance and do a surprise pop-up bust and go after them. I mean, that's what it takes. We don't know who's planning it. We think we do. And then if we do find out who's planning it, then we have to come down with the full force of the law. And once you do that, then they will go to the other communities, unfortunately. But I think that's what it's going to have to take. When you have 9 stops and have 9 weapons, nobody can fault the police in how they're trying to protect themselves and protect the area. I mean, that's just, you know, it's something that we hadn't encountered before the pandemic. There's been parties of nature after hours. Even when my father was mayor, they used to have these type of activities, but not to the magnitude as they are today. And not with individuals, young people, carrying weapons. So it's a very serious situation. We'll do whatever we can to address it. And but I think it's proven time and time again, people might not like to hear this, enforcement, just like our children, enforcement or discipline action is what really gets the point across when you cannot control it. It gets to that point where you're going to have that enforcement.
Thank you, Mayor. Alderman Conley.
Thank you, sir. Chair.
Alderwoman Conley.
I'll take whatever I get. You know, the conversation we've had tonight ties in very closely with some of the issues that were brought up at my ward meeting. Really, people were concerned about having additional police support in the community. Speeding, I mean, obviously, we can't even talk about it anymore. It's everywhere. So my question is, Mayor, what's our schedule for hiring new officers? Because I really think, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. You're understaffed. And, you know, I'd like to see that we can bring some new officers in and build your ranks up a bit more.
Yeah, and I should be clear, the mayor has given us the go-ahead to hire.
Right.
Certainly, as all of you would too, I'm sure. So COVID put a stop to the recruit classes at
Right.
Gillespie, the place where we send our officers. That started back up. We've got officers, recruits that will begin in July and then an August class. Keep in mind, they're a year out from the time that we hire them to where they're really on their own and can do the job out there. We are doing our best to hire lateral candidates, and we're recruiting lateral candidates as much as we can. There are a lot of things that have happened here, from police reform to some of our officers getting towards the near of their career where they've decided to retire, to just lack of recruits out there that want to come do this job. And we're just at this perfect storm of a difficult season right now. And we'll get through that. And like I said, we're hiring should be close to 24 total between that July and August class. And we'll continue to hire as the classes come. So that'll be the end of our list. We have a new test that will start end of July. So if you all know folks that want to take the test, end of July be the time to do that.
And can you actually, so who's eligible to take the test? Is there the age?
21 to 34-year-olds, generally speaking, unless you've got some military credit in there. So if you go to the city's website, Springfield Police Department, there's all the information is on there, or call my office. I'd be more than happy to talk to anyone about it.
Thank you very much. That's what I wanted you to say.
Alderwoman DeCenso.
I would just like to note that I actually oversee a police force in my day job, and we just did the same thing, had 25, or doing a class of 25 lateral candidates, and we got 384 applications. So.
Is that statewide? And I mean, is that
It's
good?
statewide. Yeah, it's statewide. Okay. So it is a little different, but there are people still out there that are interested in getting in law enforcement.
So maybe we could talk to some of your candidates, see if they want to come join our department. Huh?
Maybe.
Okay, thank you. All right, our next speaker.
The lady.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here she comes. Go ahead. Would you state your name and address, please?
Verla Hampton, 1227 East Enterprise Street. I have a couple questions. Are four-wheelers allowed to ride on the blacktop roads on Main Street on Enterprise?
No.
Okay. And what about mini bikes? They drive down Enterprise like it's the Indianapolis 500. And that's just not mini bikes and four-wheelers, that's cars too. And now that we have more Section 8 living in our area, there's little kids out there that, you know how kids are. A ball goes out in the street, they don't look, they're kids. And somebody's going to get hurt really, really bad. And now I've got a neighbor down the road that lets a little one, a little girl about like that tall, ride on. He's holding on her with his hand and riding a mini bike with the other man. He hit a bump out there. There's a bump, in the road. And I thought that guy was going to lose that little girl, and him too, because he lost control of that bike. And he was driving too fast. And at night, from the time the sun goes down till 9 o'clock, you can hear them bikes going up and down the road like there's no tomorrow. And this pop-up party, I was on with 20 News too, but I was sleeping, got up to do my ladies thing, and well, first of all, what woke me up is I kept seeing lights hitting my bedroom wall. And what it is there's a dead end, and then there's a cul-de-sac, and somebody was kept turning around in the cul-de-sac, and the lights were hitting the wall in our bedroom. And we have blinds and curtains up. And I thought, what's going on? And I looked outside. I couldn't believe it. I thought, what's going on? So I go in the kitchen and look out the kitchen window, and all the way from 13th and Enterprise to Pillsbury was nothing but a red light of taillights. And then I thought, well, maybe I better wake my boyfriend up. Something's going on. Maybe there's a fire. But I thought, no, there's too many cars. Nobody could get through. But anyway, I wake him up. He gets up. He says, what's going on? I said, that's why I woke you up. And so he goes out, and he's standing out there. And here comes a car from the west to the east on Enterprise. Well, the cops must have been chasing him. He goes into our dead end 30 miles an hour, and there's a fence for the football field is, you know, the old football where you play JUCO varsity games there. There used to be a school there. I don't mean.
He know it.
Okay. So anyway, he's either going to go through that fence, so he makes a right. And on the right is my neighbor, an empty lot, and my neighbor. And he goes between his brick building that he's got in the back and a steel clothesline pole, shoots in between there, makes another right because then he thinks he can get out to Enterprise again. You know where he wound up? He wound up tearing the front end out of a 2019 car on my neighbor's fire pit. Yeah, that's how it was till 4 o'clock in the morning. And then we had to have a tow truck come and tow that car out and tore up the yard. And we mowed that empty lot. We've taken care of that empty lot ever since they tore that 2-apartment building down. So, you know, that's ridiculous. And all these people, they just speed and they don't care. That's not right.
Well,
and I know the police can only do so much. I know, and I know, and I understand. There ain't no way, and you know where, that I would take my butt out there if I seen 500 cars. No way, because that puts you guys' life in danger. So, but is there a speed limit on any of our roads like that? Of course.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's speed limits.
Yeah, but I call the cops, and you know what I get? Well, if you don't come in and make a report, we can't do nothing about it. That's what I get from the cops. And I've called and I've called and I've called. And I've got a friend that gets a printout of the phone calls that are made per month. And not one time is my phone number on there or any of the complaints that I made. Not one time. And that made me really mad, really hot.
Yeah, we need to do better, and our police are listening tonight, so.
And have you ever tried to get a license plate at a car going 50, 60 miles an hour? Have you? Yeah. But I recognize the car, and I'm writing down plate numbers. Because I seen the same place and the same people driving that car, and I write down their phone numbers. And the loud music. One day it started at noon on a Sunday, and it went till, what was it? Well, probably Memorial Day. That's when it started on noon Sunday. And I don't care that they play their music, that's fine. But when they're 3 blocks away, and I'm sitting in my front room listening to my TV with my doors and windows closed, and I hear boom, 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 boom.
Thank you for giving your first-person account.
Okay.
That's awful.
It's very helpful to get a first.
I'm sorry.
Your description is very helpful to everyone here to understand what was happening that night.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you very much.
we want to move on. So
Okay,
what I'll
that's
say,
fine.
what I'll say to you is just stay in touch with
I'm
me.
coming to the meeting
Yes.
when you said.
Yeah, the mayor be there too, so I won't feel alone.
Yeah. He might not want to be. Sorry.
I'm gonna bring the police chief too.
Sorry.
Listen, he's
All right.
been through the ringer this week. He can handle it.
Mr. Clerk, the next speaker.
George Ward.
order. All right, all right. How you doing, sir? How you doing?
How are you?
I'm hurting a little bit. You know, I'm just learning how to relax and practice a lot of humility.
God. State your name and your address, please.
1438 East Adams Street.
Okay.
And how you been doing?
I'm doing all right. Did you say your name?
I'm just,
George?
Ward, W-R-D.
Okay, thank you.
Sir. I feel like I really had no other option, ladies and gentlemen, to try to deal with this. I knew when I tried to make a stand it was going to get ugly. You know, you got to watch how you carry yourself and got to watch what you say around some of these people.
Okay.
They came on my apartment, stole my debit card, and I had it up on a mat, and they stole $150. Right in front of the apartment, I had a bike. Somebody came around and gave it to me. I can't even walk. I can't even ride on a bike. Okay? This is pretty serious. You know, I had a stroke, and I don't want to sue the city. I really don't. Y'all got a hell of a city here, you know. A lot of good people, there's a lot of good and a lot of bad. And these kids, I'm 67, these kids better grow up. I've left every other night they're out there shooting. Yeah, the police, they just as human as you are. You know, my dad's 90, and my mom passed away years ago. They brought me up right. Discipline, self-control. All my teeth are missing. When we were kids, we fought, you know. They got a lot to learn. I need your help. This is all conspiratorial, from complicity. Forgive me, even the police involved. They hold my money, my stimulus money, all that. Sir, I don't have a phone. I had a stroke. Doctors gave me shots in the knee. I'm blind, 20/50 here. I can barely see. Yeah. I've learned how to forgive people and move on. Let it go. All I'm asking, I'm going to leave information. You know these people. Down the Helping Hands, a young man named, will you write this down, please, Mr. Gregory? Yes. Andy Jones is my administrator. I know business profession. I run my dad. My dad's my mom, you know. I'm from Peoria, you know. It's a lot different. These people here don't care. Don't let these people use you. They got a lot to learn. Me too. You know, I live my mother. Mama died when she was only 55. And I've been in the penitentiary. And I respect the police. I walk past and shots, shooting out. I don't even flinch. They think that's cute. They get on the police's nerves. As soon as the lights go out, they shoot. Sometimes it's gunshots, but they be throwing cherry bombs. I don't blame the police.
Okay, sir, I need you to wrap it up.
Okay. His extension is 104. And tell him to stop lying to me, you know? Enough is enough. I'm only human, okay? I'm only human. Coming to an apartment, tearing up stuff, and the neighbors, they don't like me because I'm not going to kiss their butt to get along with. No, I'm an easy person. I'm a good person. Y'all got good people in here.
Okay, well, it's time, sir, but we got Andy Jones,
okay,
and we got extension 104, and if you have any more problems, call your Alderman Gregory. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Practice humility. You gig like a kid the last time I talked the last 3 weeks ago. Okay?
Thank you.
Look, man, Akeem.
I really appreciate it, okay? Thank you. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm only human. And he had a problem too with somebody. Yeah. I listen to the news, I pay attention.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I had enough of it.
Yeah, please state your name and address, please.
Lukeman Hakeem, 2300 South 6th Street in Springfield. Mayor, I want to let you know, the city council members, that my sister, Ruth Bradberg, passed away. Okay? And part of it was due to the drywall dust, the plaster dust of the house, of the, of the railroad project that I've been complaining about for the last several months. But not one of you even considered of calling, giving your respect or nothing else. You just left it all blank. Even though you knew or you read the paper, you just ignored it. We was expecting someone from this committee.
We didn't know. We didn't know till we got your sign up to speak.
You may not knew, but you can't say we, because
I didn't know.
they're not in your pocket.
No one's in my pocket.
You know what I'm saying? You said we.
I didn't know.
Okay. Now, John, you knew my sister. He takes off. John Pagenzi knew my sister from the truck stop. She worked out there for over 35 years. Not even he or his family even sent their condolences. Or call my family and tell them, well, kiss my ass. Okay? And that shows disrespect to my family from this city council. Because each and every one of you knew she was in a hospital since November on her deathbed. Not one of you, I don't think not one of you is scared except for one person I know of, and that's Mr. Andrew Proctor. Because he did reach out to me. Thank you, sir. You know, this city council did us dirty.
This is getting out of line, sir.
Well, I'm just letting you know.
Everyone on this council serves diligently, long hours for our 110,000 population here, and we don't need those kind of comments directed at the city council, sir.
Then let me ask this.
No, I don't think you don't, no.
Well, I did.
What we're going to do is let you wrap up. We'll give you one more minute just to wrap up. No name calling. And please address the chair. Don't address him, just me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Why did two individuals on South 6th Street get paid for their homes that wasn't eligible to be bought?
Okay, is there anybody here who can answer that?
I can. I had
Alderman DeCenso.
communicated with Gina about a buyout, and I had an amendment brought forward, and eligibility from who? They said your house wasn't eligible to be purchased, and as we know, it should have been purchased, correct?
Right.
Okay, so...
But that's after the fact.
So who is to say what's eligible and what's not? Because according to the standard set, your house was not eligible to be purchased. Is that correct or not?
But my...
No. I just asked you a question. Is that correct or not? According to the standards that were set, was your house eligible to be purchased?
It should have been purchased.
But was it eligible?
Somebody said it wasn't.
Okay.
But it was
All right.
within 80 feet of the
Okay.
railroad.
But I reached out to you and I worked with you. I worked with you several times and tried to get.
Okay, so what we're going to do, we'll address your house, and we don't need to address the other houses. She's saying that your house
bought
wasn't.
the house, so I'm just saying.
Okay.
Okay. What is actually happened?
Okay, well, we're very sorry for your sister. I personally didn't know her or didn't know that she was in a hospital or passed or anything, but for the whole council, I'll apologize to you. I don't think anybody would intentionally not want to give you condolences or, be sensitive to the issue that you're dealing with from when she was living and the things that you said was going on, what was happening with the house. So I'm just going to apologize for everybody and say we're all sorry for all of that. But we don't want to deteriorate to the point to where we're name calling and saying untrue things. So we just need to leave it at that.
Right.
Thank you.
I understand that, Alderman Williams. This was going on when Alderman Doris Turner was here before she took the Senate seat.
Okay.
Okay. And I understand your position now.
Yeah.
And I thank you for doing what you're doing.
Okay, I just want you to know that we are a council that cares, and we are, we give our sympathy. We are sorry. No one wishes anybody to pass, so we're sorry. Thank you for sharing with us.
All right, thank you.
Any more speakers?
Alice Ramey.
They can hear me.
You look tall there, Alice.
I know.
Tall when it's like that.
Oh, well, hello. We have to have a laugh anyway, don't we?
Alice, your time is up.
I mean, it took me 5 minutes to get up here. I'm getting slow in my old age. I agree with you, okay? Very much so.
On which part?
About MacArthur. I was on MacArthur Saturday, okay? I never saw so many speeders up and down the street in my life. And it's hard to get on that street when you're getting out of IV, unless you go to the stoplight, and sometimes that's pretty hard yourself. Anyway, we need to make all these pop-up parties a little bit harder for them to be popped up. You got a thing coming up for license plates. I think in the most important places should be one of those pop-up parties. Okay, I know about pop-up parties because I've been in one. Okay, talking out of turn, I guess, because I've been an outlaw all my life. But I always love this city, and I hate to see it destroyed because of certain people that don't understand the respect, okay? I was on MacArthur, and I was making a right-hand turn to go on Outer Park Drive. And in the meantime, there was 5 cars that went by me because I was stopped because I wanted to make a turn into the big place where I could go to Dollar Tree or whatever that thing is over there. And the guy came around me, hit me at almost 40 miles an hour and took off my front end. Okay? And I just got the car. And when you're speeding, you don't have control of your car, especially on speed bumps. I have done it, and I know, okay? We need to make the signs big enough for the young kids can see it, okay? And even the old kids, all right? And they're not too big, okay? We need a limit on the speed, and we need a limit on no parking. And what time you can park, what you can't park, okay? And I brought a picture of a house in my neighborhood last time I was up here. Nothing has happened to that house, but she moved people in to live in it. Now, the slumlords of this city needs to be taught a lesson. And At one time, I told the corporate council that I thought $250 is like pocket change. You drop that in the slot machines, try to make that $19,000, okay? So I think that's a little cheap, okay? And I realize how slow it is when you only got so many police officers on the floor, and it's hard. I waited almost 2 hours for a police officer, but I had one from Jerome, and he was very nice, and he couldn't take the report, so a young lady did. She was excellent, even though she just left a scene that was very disturbing to her. I thought she handled herself quite well. Our police officers, I want to thank for whoever thought about getting the mental ill with Memorial Hospital for people. I have been asked for that for a long time with every chief, because they need a person that is educated in that field to go with a police officer when there is somebody mentally ill that can help. I'm glad for that, and thank you, Mayor, if you were part of it. And also, I know that we need to really straighten up how people are reacting, because I know they've been tied up in houses, and now they got their wings, they can fly, okay? And we have to make that little help, go along with it, but we shouldn't have to go along with it with $6,995 worth of damage to my car, okay? And I really do appreciate the people that helped me that day with my sister and I, and they were very nice. That's the city I remember when I was growing up here, okay? This city has got individualized a lot because of the epidemic, and they haven't got back to where they were supposed to be. And maybe someday they will, and respect everything that had gone before. And we're trying to be better at what we're doing in this new norm that they were calling. I thank you for your time. I thank you, Mr. Williams. Mm-hmm. And corporate counsel, did you do what you said you were going to do, sir? Thank you, and God bless you both.
Do we have executive session or anything?
No, sir, there is not.
Okay.
Second.
Yes. You've got to be kidding me. But you had left. I said, he said, well, she wants sister when she worked at something for 35
I knew her when she had the track accident.
So, but he beat us up. And I, give him some Friday to go with him on behalf of everybody. That's good.